How are you doing today?
Pretty good.
That's
How
good.
about you?
Doing good, doing good.
hmm
Would you like to say your name and like a brief description of who you are?
Sure, I'm Ayla, and I do sex work and research and stuff.
Following up on the research and stuff part of that, you also are hosting this creator boot camp that we're at. Please
hmm
don't kill us. I want to talk about like what inspired you to kind of put this thing on.
It was a mix of like being vaguely interested in trying to help with AI X risk stuff, but not quite knowing how,
Mhm.
and then realizing that all of the rats trying to do this were a little bit more retarded than I thought. And then I was like, maybe I'll shoot my shot or something.
Yeah. What ways do you feel like they're retarded, like limited in their thinking? The rats, the other
I
rats.
mean, they're a lot of them are very genius. Like a lot of them
Yeah,
are
yeah, yeah,
significantly
yeah.
smarter than me. But it's very like it's systems thinking, and I think there's not a lot of because I like watching TikTok and I like watching really long like drama videos on YouTube where people are like, and then this creator said this horrible thing, and then there was this reaction. I don't know, like there's some like maybe it's like a female part of my biology or something that really likes social drama, and so I feel like I have like a better grasp of like how societies move and what kind of aesthetics are persuasive and what the way that social networks like form and collapse. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, like it started when I was listening to somebody trying to plan a party, like a rationalist was trying to plan a party, and they're on a phone call,
Hmm.
and then they were saying horrifying things like, "Oh yeah, the celebrities in LA. You think they want a 45-hour presentation or an hour and 45-minute presentation for this party we're throwing?" And I was just like, "No, no, hell, no, they need help." And then one thing led to another, and now we're running PDKU.
Yeah, yeah. And how do you feel like it's gone so far? Now that we're 2 days from the end.
Pretty good, actually. I think there's a decent chance we'll run it again. It depends a lot on the stats. I think we need to look at like what kind of videos got what kind of views. What do we think about the content of those videos? But a lot of this was very experimental because I have a strong belief that success is not something that you can plan in advance if you're doing something like communication or like being a presence in the outside world. So my sense is let's shake a whole bunch of factors where we have no idea if it's going to work. Throw a bunch of these people into a mixing pot, shake it around, and then see if anything grows out. And then if something does grow out, then we might be like, okay, the next cohort will like adjust our policy and lean a little bit more in that direction and rinse and repeat.
Yeah. Do you have any way that you're leaning at this point, like before you've looked at all the data, like anything you wish you could have done differently, I guess?
Not in regards to. I mean, maybe once I look at the data, I will have. But in not in regards to that yet. I'm having some senses of like, I wish we had set up the fellows for better expectation about what it's going to be like and what to do.
Hmm.
I mean, a lot of it is stuff we're learning ourselves because it's hard to predict all of the
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Like I was just telling someone, there were some rules that I didn't know we had to make explicit. Like we just assumed that they were default, and then like incentive structure is hard. There's a lot of like, I think some of the fellows who like have conflict, which is inevitable if you're going to be throwing 50 plus people into a campus for a month, right? And so it's
Yeah.
like when we didn't have like structures like, okay, so if you have a conflict with this thing, like what is your method of dealing with that, and like what exactly are our thresholds for like different levels of, do I talk to the person, do we throw them out, like we didn't know this in advance, and so we've been sort of having to figure this out, and this makes it, I think, harder for the fellows who like don't understand what to expect, basically. So I think going forward we'd be like much clearer about what exactly we expect to do in a whole bunch of different fringe situations. I mean, you're a fellow. How's it been for you?
I've had a really wonderful time. I did come into this, I mentioned that I study like net war or like collective intelligence, organisms, organizate. They're not really organizations, but like the living collective kind of like that network agent. Um, and I have been extremely like blown away with how well all this is run. And like
Oh,
every time you've talked about the reason you threw it or like the things you hope to see out of it, I'm like fascinated more and more. Like one particular thing that stood out was in the first talk that you and Ronnie gave about like expectations that like the opening talk, and you had said something about like bringing all these different like veins together and then cross pollinating them to like
mm-hmm.
just see what emerges, and I think it's been really beautiful watching the entity form itself. And then, I think of like the inside jokes that aren't really inside jokes, like the AI thing, but also like uh what are they calling it now? Starry Night Sky, Kaylin's Friend, that song, as well as the Gerardino song, um, and other forms of like in-group out-group stuff that isn't really like out-group, but like this like identity building, I guess, this tribe building.
Hmm.
Anyways, I've had a really great time. I know I've been a little controversial at times throughout the month, but
Controversial how?
uh, like the total clanker genocide sign was a
Oh,
little.
oh, is that yours?
That
I
was
didn't
mine.
know.
That was mine. It was a little controversial. But that's okay. That's okay, right? Somebody had to do it.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't have to, but overall, I think it's been really amazing, and I'm so glad that like I was accepted, but also that I chose to come to this.
Mm.
Anyways, yeah. So I've had a great time. I did want to kind of touch on this idea of like the identity building part. Do you feel like what do you hope to see come out of this in the future? Like moving forward, we all go home. Like, do you have any expectations for like post PDKU for the PDKU cohort? Does that make sense?
Like going into this very open-minded, I was like, this could be a total failure, but at least that now we know it's a
Yeah, yeah,
failure.
yeah.
So really low expectations. I think some people have like talked about making creator houses, which I hadn't even thought of. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah.
Whoops, sorry. Um, I think we're gonna need some time afterwards to look at how creators are, because right, this is like a weird constraint where like, you have to make one video every. It's like really intense. So I expect like the quality of the videos people are posting to suffer. So it's a little bit hard to tell. I'm curious if after the constraint is over and like people have like a month on their own to keep doing what they feel like, if the quality will be better than when they came in, or like more interesting by my standards or something. And I'm hoping it will, but maybe not. I'm also really curious to see what types of people, because we accepted a wide range of people from like very nerdy thinking about AI. They read math papers to like, people like fashion girlies doing the cute TikTok dances. And we also had a spectrum from like people who had never made a video in their life, but like maybe had some creative endeavor somewhere else, and then people who are established creators. So I really wanted to like, of this like, I guess, quadrant, which groups tended to benefit the most from this program,
Yeah.
and which ones like both in like follower count, but also like does their content seem to have like responded really well to it. So that's, I mean, it'll be really cool to like write up a report of this after it's over.
Yeah. Are you going to like do a write up on your Substack or something?
I might. It's very hard for me to predict my own writing, but
Mm-mm.
it may happen. Yeah.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Um, I don't know how to phrase the question, so I'm gonna briefly explain something. So in net war theory, there's this thing called TIMIN. It stands for Tribes, Institution, Markets, and Networks, and it basically explains the way that social organization has changed over time, but it's not like replaced. Like institutions don't replace tribes; institutions add to tribes, and they like combine them, and then markets like add to institutions and they like come together. But then networks are the current like meta, I guess, of social organization. And this was a major like network building cohort, network building opportunity. I guess I'm curious on your thoughts on like the future of social organization, both within and maybe outside of, if you have any thoughts of like the rat sphere. So like bigger than just PDKU, but like obviously a lot of us were coming in and being like integrated into this like AI safety, X risk, rationalist, this kind of scene. So I guess I'm curious, like, how do I phrase this? Do you feel like there is like an existing foundation of networks within the rationalist sphere, or do you feel like that? Oh, I think I'm butchering the question.
The Rationalosphere is a scene right now.
Yeah, yeah,
There is like an existing network. Sort of people mostly know each other,
yeah.
especially in the Bay Area. Yeah. So is it something like, how do I feel about bringing in outsiders, and how does this connect to the currently existing rationalist scene?
Yeah, but also, how do you see the rational scene impacting, I guess, the rest of the world, right? Like, right now it's a scene in, like, San Francisco. I guess there's a scene in a lot of different cities, but um, what are, like, the aspirations? I hear a lot of, like, political talk from some people where they're like, we need, like, political aims in order to get the things that we need, like the AI pause movement, etc. And I guess I'm curious on your thoughts on, like, how this scene will bleed out into the wider world. Does that make sense?
Well, it's already bled out in ways that are really surprising to me. I've attended my first rationality reading group meetup in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, it was just a bunch of dorks reading a blog, and we went online and were like, let's get blah, blah, blah. Then we all was like, it was, a bunch of early 20s. It was really cute. So it was very bizarre to have like that thing of all things, like grown into this thing. It's like much more well known today than I would have thought. Like a lot of very influential people, in government or people who are pulling levers or something. I've read like Slate Sarcodex, or I think that actually probably more Slate Sarcodex than Less Wrong, because Less Wrong is a little more niche.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, I guess I don't know what I'm saying, I guess, but the rationality community has like expanded in its influence, I think.
And do you think it'll continue to be like one scene, or do you think it'll be, and I'm not super familiar with the lore here, but like I know that there's like a weird schism maybe between like EA and Rationalist,
Mm-hmm.
even though they're very like from the outside very like adjacent to each other. Do you think it'll continue to be one scene, or do you think this will like fracture, schism? I'm not sure what the right word is here.
I don't know about the future of the EA and the Rats. I view it kind of like Catholicism and Protestantism, where if
Mm-hmm.
you're not religious at all, you're like, yeah, the Christians, right?
Mm.
And if you're Protestant, you're like, Catholics are going to hell, man. I mean, I have like affection in my heart for the EAs because I like doing good better or whatever. It's like the way they think about the world. But I think they have been. I think they used to be less schismed than they are more now. Is my read, and this makes me think they will continue to schism. I mean, just based on trend. But I have really low confidence. The EA crowd seems to be younger than the Rationalist crowd, so it could be something like a general replacement. I started the Less Wrong reading group, or the Rationalist reading group that meets here every week, as partly to try to fix that. I was like, we got to get some kind of easy onboarding. I mean, I'm rambling a bit, but this is like, I had a reading group in Seattle when I lived there, moved around the world, and then eventually I was like, I'll move to the Bay and I'll go to their reading group. And I moved to the Bay, and it turns out that like the culture here was older. Like the Rationalists had existed in the Bay for much longer. We were like late stage dying star. Not dying star, but it's different. And so there was no easy entry for new people into the scene. So anyway, I really want to make it an easy entry here, specifically to be like, okay, we can have new people that aren't EAs. I mean, or are EAs. I just mean that like, that the EAs have a better way of doing that than we do.
Yeah.
But I think it's fine. I think the EAs are just more like worried about what people think of them more. That's all.
That's really interesting. So it's like a neuroticism thing, or would you say it's like a self-consciousness thing, or
I guess it's a conformist thing, which is funny to say because EAs are very non-conformist in a lot of ways. It's just like, but the Rationalists are much more down that axis, I think.
And is this program like along that line of thinking of like bringing new people into the scene and like mixing it up, so to speak?
A bit. I mean, I was thinking of it less in terms of rationality. Like, I love the Rationalist community, but they're bad at vibes, especially vibes for the outside world. And I'm like, if we want to make any progress in like communicating to normal people the seriousness of this risk, we need to have normal vibes. Like, let's just get the normal vibes in here. So I was not explicitly trying to select for Rationalists in the acceptance. I think I was pushing much more in the direction of like, does this person just seem like they'd be fun at a party kind of direction? Although we didn't go all the way, we got some people who are like the autists, and then we're like, maybe if we merge them with the people who are fun at parties, something will happen.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but something.
What is the vibe on like how that merge has happened from like the organizer point of view? Like, do you feel like we have mixed, or like, do you have any like initial thoughts? I know you haven't looked at the data, but like,
I actually don't know. We probably will do a survey. I'm like curious for your guys' thoughts, but I think it's going okay. I think there have been. It's not like a totally smooth road, but I see people talking to each other and hanging out who are from, I would say, different cultures, which is like quite good to me. And I think I've seen different cultures collaborating on videos, which is even better. Yeah, but I don't know. How do you feel like it's going?
I feel like it's going really well. I also try really hard to be social with everybody. So sometimes I'll hear other people be like, oh, I haven't talked to that person at all. And then I'm like, oh, we're having completely different experiences here. So I am very much trying to like touch all the cultures, so to speak. But I think some people are a little bit more like clicked off, maybe, especially if they had pre-existing friends coming into this that they already like knew, and then they were hanging out with from day one, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But overall, I think most people are like very open to like meeting new people, exploring new cultures in like a safe space, so to speak.
Yeah. I think a lot of people here are young, which is like a magic time. I think that people sort of become less able to rapidly and so closely bond with people once they age a bit. But yeah, throwing a bunch of early 20s people into a blender is just uh, really magic for making a bunch of random connections.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels very magic on this side of it as well.
That's great. That's good to hear. Yeah.
I guess I'm also a little curious, and I probably should have done this at the beginning, but like you mentioned that you got into the rationalist community around 2015.
hmm
How has it evolved since then? Or like your experience, how has your experience in it evolved since then, I guess is a better question.
They've gained a lot more seriousness, I think. I mean, I was just like I was like a rando rat going to a meetups. Like, there's a ton of those happening across the world. So I didn't really have access. And the Bay Area is the heart of it. Where's the most rats doing the most ratty type things. Like when they run companies, they usually run them here. So I don't know how much of it's changed, or I just slowly moved into the heart of things. But there's a lot more like the rationalists are writing books and talking to politicians and like advising policy and stuff like that, and that's cool. I think that wasn't happening before. But I mean, this is partially with the rise of AI and LLMs, where now there's actual thought experiments on the line. They're like, ooh, who's been working on this for a while? It's like the rationalist. The rationalist like, I got you. I've been waiting for this moment. We've been here for decades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is really cool to hear about. Do you think other people will be inspired by events like Please Don't Kill Us or Inkhaven even? Although I think Please Don't Kill Us is
I was inspired
a
by
step
Inkhaven.
above.
Yeah.
Do you think other groups, other like organizers are going to be inspired by this kind of thing? Or do you think it's like too edgy or like
Like other organizers in the rationalist community or elsewhere?
in the rationalist community or just in the wider
I guess is that some might be a little inspired, but I think I would be surprised if anybody did anything very similar to what we're doing right now. People might do something like, oh, I'm inspired to like do a content house funding mechanism. Like that might be a separate thing. I do think there was like this had some impact on like the way that funding is going to work moving forward, because this is an advocacy project that we're doing.
this is?
Yeah, like or like a communication,
Yeah.
thing, as opposed to just straight interp research or something. Yeah, but I don't know. I get the sense that the thing that I am doing is relatively rare. Like, for example, there's the Frame Fellowship, which is long form or something, which I think is good. I'm like, I support them doing this or whatever, but like my vision just feels like vibe wise just very, very different from that. I'm like, we have to go crazy. Like, we can't do this sitting around being fancy hurdy-durdy thing, which is, some people need to do that, by the way. If nobody were doing that, then I would be like, we have to do this. But
Of course.
Nobody's doing the like losing it kind of thing. And I'm like, we need like actual creativity in here. And there's some way where I kind of feel like this culture, the rationalist culture, is like very bad at art. Internally, for rationalist values, they do some really wonderful art, like like Unsung, I think, is fucking incredible. But as a whole, this is not a very artistic endeavor, and they're like not very good at thinking of including art and beauty in the way they're communicating, making it fun. I just like, is it fun to listen to? Because I get bored really fast. And like, can you explain to me your complicated project, but with like flashing colors and noises? Thank you.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've had any content that stood out to you this month that you were like, that's really fun, I love that? Like that's like what I wanted to see.
Yeah, there definitely has been. I don't remember off the top of my head what it is, but I definitely know there have been some videos I'm like, that is really, really good. A lot of the skits people have been doing with Nate are funny. Maybe I see those more often because Nate shows me all of the ones he does. But like him sitting down for the interview about how he died, or like he's sitting down for the interview in heaven about how he was writing about all the AA stuff. Like cute stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was a really clever idea.
His skits are really funny. I love how he like stepped up towards the end and was hosting the skit organizing like every morning.
Yeah. Yeah, he's high powered that way.
Would you change any of the mentors that you brought here? Or do you feel like you guys did a good job with not just fellow selection, but also with like the people leading us, I guess?
I'm actually not sure. a big part of the mentor selection was like getting advertising, getting people to come. Do you want to go get mentored by this person or whatever? Excuse me. But I'm gonna have to talk to people mainly. I think we're probably gonna do a review where people like rate different mentors about how useful they were. Because again, this was like very thrown at the wall. Like we had people who are like relatively famous, people who work on AI specifically, a lot of that. We have like OnlyFans girl who's like extremely good at OnlyFans, right? Like like any type of expertise about like improv, somebody doing improv. So a really wide range. And my vision is that all of this is kind of necessary, that like people can kind of gravitate towards the kinds of skills that they need the most. And I really, really wanted this to be a choose your own adventure thing. I really didn't want to put the minimal constraints on the system and just be like, okay, we're going to give you the ingredients now, like let yourself move in the way that feels good to you. And so I was trying to do that with the mentors as well. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have a sense of like some mentors being way more awesome than others? Or is it like roughly even?
I like all the mentors. I feel like some of the mentors are a lot more social than they are mentory, which is fine. I think that's like a good thing to have. But again, I'm making a big effort to like interact with everybody. So I'm not sure if everybody would feel the same way. If it's like a cluster of mentors that are kind of just hanging out and not really hosting office hours or like talks or anything. But I think having people on campus that are like professionals at content creation is very like connective, or maybe like rejuvenative doesn't feel like the right word, but like
Makes it feel possible?
yeah, it makes it feel very like real and tangible. And like because some of these people are like over 1 million subscribers, and they're just normal people that like you would see in other spaces, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is just like a normal person. It's not like some like superhuman person. Which I also feel the same way about a lot of the organizers, like people on like your tier of things. Like you guys are all extremely normal in ways that the internet would never portray you guys to be.
Thanks.
So that was really, really interesting to learn about. And I find myself like liking you guys more and more every time I hear you guys talk, because I'm like, oh my God, that's how you guys are so famous, because you guys are like so smart and so like keyed into your like niche, like your niche things. I don't know. And then the internet is just like bad faith about everybody. So
yeah, it's a brutal war zone out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of on this level of like systems thinking, I'm curious. I do want to know about your internet experience, but I'm sure people have already asked you about that. So I guess I'll tailor a question more for like the fellows or people in future Please Don't Kill Us cohorts that are coming in. What are like the systems at play that people are like integrating themselves into if they decide to like pursue more SF rationalist scene after like an event like Please Don't Kill Us? Like if they join a creator house, who are the types of people that they'll be like rubbing shoulders with? Does that make sense?
I don't know about the creator house. I mean, I don't think there's like quite a structure. Like I said, I think the only structured thing right now is like the weekly reading group, for example. But my hope is that they just have good connections now with people in the rationalist community, such that if they would like to be more involved, if they want to like get invited to Solstice, or if they go to a party where a lot of rats are at, or if like one of the orgs is hiring, a lot of the orgs have been looking at the PDKUers, and probably we'll sit down with some of the orgs and go over the content, and like we will talk about like what was this person like at PDKU? Like, do you think they would be a good fit for your company? So there's definitely a lot of employment. I think there's already been some employment that's been happening, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think I was thinking of this as like a strong like funnel for people into the rationalist community quite so much.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I would like them to have connections and to know about things, but like I wasn't really thinking. Yeah, it wasn't my expectation. I think because like people who are interested are probably already going to be interested in it. And like I said, I prefer sandbox, put ingredients there, and let the person grow where they want to be. So I want to give people access if they'd like, but I don't. Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, I think the connections are perfectly fine for me.
No, definitely. The only reason I asked is because a lot of people are talking about moving to SF to stay as a part of this scene. That's actually really interesting that wasn't something that you were thinking about. But it does sound like you like were like, I'm just gonna plant it and see what grows.
Yeah, if they want to move here, that's great. I forgot what it's like to the power of like doing something like this, especially like I said when you're young. But like I'm thinking like if I were 22, would I have just moved to SF because I went to like a 1 month thing? I'm like I probably would have done that. Like that sounds awesome. You run where the sparkles are.
Yeah.
Might be good to try out for some people. But my prediction would be that most of the people who here would end up remaining friends and sort of create their own scene here. And I'm hoping if we do run more cohorts to like at least have a percentage of people come back as like alumni or something to like try and start integrating the scenes over time.
That would be really interesting. And that does tie into this like network building thing of like creating a new scene out of like the scene that already exists as like a succeeding generation almost.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm a little worried about it because I think there's a lot of emotional skills required to have a community go well. And we are bringing together people based on their propensity to say things to public audiences. So I think I think it's probably going to be fine. But like the rationalists had like kind of decades to sort of work out their intercommunity shit in some ways, like figure out the norms for like how do we deal with like when somebody's being shitty, like how do we do excommunication without us, overreacting. Like it's a really fucking hard thing to do. And I just anticipate quite a lot of drama if you throw a bunch of young people with social media accounts together. So I'm sure it'll work itself out and it will be okay, but I don't think it's going to be smooth.
yeah. I kind of want to follow up on that with like controversy is controversial, of course. But you mentioned earlier that you enjoy watching drama online. So like, do you think this controversy would help or hurt your cause?
I wouldn't like it. I like watching drama online for the analysis of the social response. Like specifically, like okay, it's like putting a puzzle forward. Okay, there's this series of actions. Can you predict what the status dynamics will be at the end of it? That's really fascinating to me. But when it actually happens, I don't like it. It's like I like watching videos of war, but you're like, oh, do I want my friends to go to war? Like, absolutely not. It's very stressful and terrible. Yeah, so I'm a little worried. I think it's just going to be a thing that's going to happen. But I know that like anything negative that is vaguely associated with me or my team's work is going to be blamed on. This is just like the way it works. It's like it's unavoidable. So I'm like, okay, well, fuck it. Like there's gonna be people who are complaining about something somewhere and it's gonna be my fault, and life goes on.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for people that are facing a lot of controversy and like the way that you can either lean into it or like push through it? Because you are quite controversial online, as mentioned earlier. But yeah, did you have like any advice for just anybody who finds themselves in like a controversial, sticky situation?
Stay in close touch with what you believe in, which is easier said than done. It's like extremely hard to like know what you really think is true or good when everybody's screaming at you that you're wrong. Surround yourself with friends and family that support you, like the people or people who've been through it before if you can find them, and then know that this is inevitable, that like it's other people have not done the good things associated with the thing that you're doing for the reason of controversy, and the controversy is the price that you pay in order to get through it. Be like, what did you think you were signing up for? This is it. A little bit like that. So like those three things are usually the things that I have advice for. Yeah, I don't know.
That makes sense. Thank you. Was there anything that you hoped that anybody would ask you, or anything that you're like itching to talk about? Just like, I don't know, just like an open.
Not super much. What like a vague thing that I wanted to say that is not that relevant is just that community organizership is like one of the hardest jobs that exists, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Have you ever like organized some kind of?
Lightly, not anything on this scale. Mostly online stuff. Although I am throwing an event in September which is also related to like identity building. You should definitely come to my talk tomorrow at 4 p.m. But so definitely not to this scale. So I would love to hear more about like your thoughts on why it's so difficult, or like some of the hardships you've been facing with this.
I mean, a lot of it's very fun. Specifically, the hard part is when there's disputes. is just a fucking nightmare, and you are not going to get through it without somebody being really, really mad at you. Like, you only put yourself in the position of community leadership if you're ready for you personally to piss off a whole bunch of people. It's just because people have conflicts, and then they want you to mediate, and then you mediate, and then you have to pick something based on incomplete information where you are uncertain, and there's no way you can never be certain, and it's fuzzy, and different people have different alliances and opinions about what you should do, and some of them are extremely strong, and you're just like, I'm gonna go hide in a hole and die. It's really, and like sometimes it's about people that you care about, and then you're like, I can't be biased towards them just because I care about them. And then, yeah. So I don't know. I've lost friendships and like have caused a huge amount of people to like become like pretty upset with me. Not a huge amount, but I have had to make people upset with me before for making calls where I'm just like, yeah. And so like Brooke running Vibe Camp, for example, I'm just like, sometimes she'll be like, oh, I'm struggling with this conflict. And I'm like, I'm good. Like, I'm sorry over there that you have to do that.
You're like,
Good luck.
I don't want anything to do with it.
I know, and I feel so bad, but it's just because I hurt. Like, I understand how fucking awful it is. Yeah, it's not a job to take lightly. So I've learned since then, like, very rapidly, sort of delineate what people should and should not expect from you. Like, I have one friend who's run some big events where people come to her and be like, I don't think this other person should be invited or whatever, and then she'll just be like, you guys work it out. If one of you doesn't want to come to the event if the other person is there, that's not me. And like the level of egregious violation that's being accused like has to be like very, very high. So that's like the way that she takes it. She's very clear about that openly. Be like, I am not going to be the person to arbitrate your disputes. Which, has its pros and cons. Like, I have not gone to a lot of her events because of this. But I think it's very reasonable for her to make that call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to ask so many questions, but how do you separate out like your celebrity persona versus like your like human being underneath? Does that make sense? Like you're talking about your role as a community leader, like community organizer. Do you feel like that is resonant with like who Ayla is, or not Ayla, but like whatever your like other name is? Or do you feel like just like separating those identities between like the personal and like the professional almost?
A community organizer feels more like just a role. I in general try to keep my identities as consistent as possible. Like, I tweet the things that I think, and I'm like not going to filter myself in like almost all cases, which has been quite nice. Like, I so often are people like, oh, who's the difference between the public figure and you? And I'm like, there's not actually that much. What you see is what you get. Maybe some of the physical comedy doesn't come across on Twitter as much, but yeah, I don't know. Occasionally I've like started experimenting a little bit more with deliberate shifts. To be like, okay, but like, because when the environment treats you very much a certain way, that sort of changes the way that you are, in a sense. Like, you are your environment, your reaction to your environment. So when you're in very different environments, you sort of are a different person, almost necessarily. So I have been experimenting with like, okay, I'm going to go be celebrity. I'm going to go be like this role thing. And then I just like be like, talk to other people like I'm in this role. But that's not super common that I do that.
Interesting. Thank you very much. I don't have any other questions. But I really appreciate you chatting. And well, is there anything you would like to say to the people at home, like to the camera? Or maybe not, but
I don't think so.